call York County Board of Commissioners meeting to order, please, and have everybody rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, welcome everybody to the May 2nd Board of Commissioners meeting. Roll call, please.
Rhodes.
Present.
Bear.
Present.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Sykes.
Present.
Overbar.
Present. Open meetings law is posted on the south side of our chambers. It's in the hallway outside of our chambers, also on our website. Proof of publication was posted in the News Times April 25th, as long as on our website. Next up, we need to review and approve the minutes of our April 18th Board of Commissioner meeting.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Bear.
Yes.
Overbar.
Yes. Okay, adopt today's agenda.
I move to adopt today's agenda.
Thank you, Stan.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Bear.
Yes.
Ziegler.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Rhodes.
Yes.
Overbar.
Yes. Officials forum.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
Updates on your bridge projects. Rodo Bridge down by Sachs Lake, the deck was poured on that last Thursday. So that's there and carrying out. So now all they have left to do on the bridge itself is to form up and do the guardrails. Or pour the concrete guardrails and then just finish the project in general, but that's where that one's steady. Road 2, down between U and V, they poured that box yesterday. They started about 8:30, they finished up about 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. They poured all the walls, the deck, the whole doggone thing in one set. They had a pumper down there and done that. So now they are moving over to Road K to start taking the bridge out between 4 and 5 on K and start that box culvert. They're supposed to start that today. Road 20, the west bridge, the abutments, the piers are all poured. They was setting the beams to do the false work so they could form up to get the deck ready to pour. My estimation is they probably won't get that poured until probably next week would be my guess. Just looking at the amount of work they have to do on that. The east bridge on Road 20, they have removed the deck on that. They have the iron, all of the girders out of it. They were working on starting taking the abutments out yesterday. So my anticipation is they will finish up this week of getting that cleaned up and start driving sheet pile for the vents and piers around on that one. So that's where your bridge projects are at and what's going on with those. Otherwise, we're still hauling gravel out on the roads. We replaced a culvert over on Road I that needed replaced. Starting to work on our summer schedule is what it is. Winding down on the crack sealing of the asphalt, we should be done this week, I'm hoping. And then we can continue to go forward with dirt and working on other projects that way. So just normal day, normal activities. So.
We had talked in the past a couple different times about our buildings. You know, you're utilizing our new building up in Benedict now.
Yes.
And so we have the other one, and of course your feelings is that we keep the one in there and utilize that for parking of whatever equipment that we need to park.
Yes.
Our spare one in Benedict, then, I mean, it isn't monthly, but it seems like I still get calls on it. I know that your recommendation on that one is to keep the land and see if we can't get something out of the building.
Exactly.
And so I think that that's probably a good idea to start moving forward with something like that. At least the people that are interested up there in it, if they want it, then they can. Would you envision using some online platform like to do it, or a sealed bid, or, you know, like do an auction online? I mean, do you got any thoughts on that?
I haven't thought about it.
Okay.
I just threw my opinion out
Okay.
there. I did not know how we would go about doing that.
Okay, well, we'll probably bring it up yet sometime this month for discussion, so you may
No.
give some thoughts on
I will
that.
do that.
And that way we can just, you know, put that
Yes.
to rest in one little piece and move down the road. But
But
the
no.
land, I agree with you, keeping the land, it looks like we got a gravel, I drove up by there here a week ago, we got a gravel pile up there, it looks like.
And if we get rid of that building, get rid of the fuel tank building, because I have somewhere for that to go already.
Okay.
Surplus the fuel tank when we're completely empty and clean it up, and then get rid of the foundation, that could be a good place to stockpile gravel.
Okay.
All winter long and have a good place to come out of. So.
Perfect. But we are utilizing it with both machines now,
Yes.
that's what we call the Thayer and the Benedict routes are coming out of
Yep.
there now. Okay.
Exactly.
Anybody else have anything of horror this morning?
Been driving the Thayer Road, they put mastic on that, and it's raised those cracks, so it's not a thump, thump, thump every 20 feet, it's 50 feet, so it's much better.
Okay, thanks, Harv.
You betcha.
Anybody else for officials forum today? Nothing. Public comments. Anybody would like to step forward during the public comment section and give us an opinion? They sure can do so at this time.
Willard Peterson, 514 Road 13, address is York. I live by Bradshaw proudly. I mentioned this a long time ago, it goes along with roads again, but I'll bring it up every so often. I suggested that possibly you guys or whoever work on a long-term 10, 15, 20 years out for thinking about the main thoroughfares in the roads in York County, and to think about maybe working, you know, in small increments on making our road system a whole lot better, and maybe give, you know, some goals. Is a lot of times it seems like it's kind of a knee-jerk thing. Stuff comes up and then you fix it and whatever. But I'm talking about just the general purpose of what the roads might look like in 50 years in York County. Well, the time to start on that's now. And so I brought that up before, and this won't be the last time you hear it, unless you start doing something about it.
Thank you, Willard. Anybody else from the public at this time? Seeing none, I'll take a second to recognize a couple things this morning during public comment. This last week, Doug Dupre, which was our weed man here in York County, and I'm not sure how many years he did work for us, but it was several. Passed away unfortunately at the age of 69. So one of our York County family had left. And then secondly, a gentleman that used to sit in your seat, Bill's sister passed away this last week too. And she was one that lived down in Arizona. So unfortunately, when we read the paper, we see things that happen a little closer to home than sometimes we want. But yeah, she passed away, I think, at age 71. So a couple young ones had left, yes. So I did want to make that a point to say that today. Okay, we'll keep moving down the agenda. There is no reason for an executive session or general assistance case that I am aware of. Payroll brings it up to payroll and vendor claims. Fairly, for us, a fairly small amount, which is kind of nice to see, but anybody have any questions, even though it was only 95,000? I believe that was the number I've seen.
Pretty close, I think. Anything that was
Glaring.
glaring this time around? I think it was pretty self-explanatory, I believe. Make a motion to approve payroll and vendor claims.
Thank you, Dan.
Second.
Thank you, Stan. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Odemeyer.
Yes. Okay, no funding transfers. Collections ended yesterday for the first half of tax collections, and they had that extra day, and according to the people that were in the courthouse yesterday, it was very busy in here, so everybody was taking advantage of that extra day, to do it, so hopefully that goes well for us. Next up, I put this on the agenda to recognize Small Business Week, May 1 through the 5th. I inadvertently did not put on that next week is Economic Development Week. We did get a letter of appreciation to the York County Courthouse from Small Business and Economic Development, so from the Chamber and from YCDC, in thanking us for our support. Obviously, the one is an entity from York City proper, but I'd like to recognize not just the businesses here that are in York, but obviously throughout York County. If you start naming them, you're gonna forget a few, but the ones in Benedict and Gresham and that have their small business, that they're doing what they love to do.
And Bradshaw.
And Bradshaw and McCool and Lushton and Waco and all the communities aforementioned. Thayer, we still have one down in Thayer too. There's two down there. Well, Drake, yep, Drake. And now we're keeping thinking of them, huh?
Yeah.
So anyhow, we do want to recognize those small businesses that are in our communities, in our county, keeping us vibrant. Anybody else have anything else? On that, next up is the Zell HR contract. This is something we've been talking about for just a little while. Daniel, myself, and Kelly and Cheryl met with Zell a couple months ago, I would say, somewhere in there. Zell it would provide the county with HR services, something that I guess we feel like we're not big enough to have its own department. This is a company that provides it to many counties across the state of Nebraska. They gave us a proposal, which you guys see. There was some language in that proposal that we at first did not care for. The county attorney's office sent back with some recommendations. They accepted our recommendations. It's a proposal that would run from June 1 through the next budget year. But after 9 months, that either one of us could back out with a 30-day notice. So Daniel, do you have anything else to say? I know Kelly probably will.
Very good.
Kelly will, at least.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on the main points of our discussions with them, and that they were agreeable to work with us on the suggestions from the county attorney. I think that in meeting with them, it will be a good resource for not only our HR and payroll individual that is currently doing that, but also a good resource for all of the county employees. I think it'll be a good benefit to us and help us to move forward and have a better, just to create that environment that is welcoming and easy to work with for all of our employees.
Kelly?
I agree with everything you said, and I think it'd be great training for all the department heads, because they have to get us the information so we know what goes on to each office. So if we don't have that information, we can't do our job
Sure.
correctly. So, yeah, and it'll be a great training tool for Cheryl and I and our office too.
I know that we sat in on a day long a couple weeks ago down in Lincoln. At least Kelly, myself, Cheryl, and Lori Byers, and then I believe that we had others go to the Kearney one too. And what they throw at you in a day's time is just a lot, and there's a lot for these people to know. And Cheryl has done us, I believe, the clerk's office, Cheryl mainly has done us a great job, but she come in with absolutely no training other than what little bit we've got. So if anything, this could be looked at as training for her too. And she's been desperately wanting this training for a while. So with the terms of the agreement that being met, what we ask, I guess it's up to this board now, what do we think? So any thoughts from everybody else?
Well, the proposal didn't look like it would be the equivalent of hiring a real person, you know, but it's, and then there's a diverse presentation in terms of all of the different departments that can be supported. So it's not like I'm bringing in one HR person that's supposed to know everything. There's a wider base of support that can help the whole county rather than just one individual or one department, so that was appealing.
Yeah, and they, I mean, our close proximity to their office in Lincoln, I think is gonna help us. Now, we did reach out to other counties that had them, and really the only ones that had any comments whatsoever were, it seemed like were more west, that they didn't see them as often as they wanted to see them. They had assured us that they would get to know all of us, you know, so that sounded appealing, that they could be here. And we did, you know, ask during our meeting, you know, what they thought if we was to hire somebody, and that figure would be somewhere between 75 and 100,000 plus benefits. You know, somebody good, somebody experienced that you would really want to have. So,
This looked like it was like 51 for a year or so.
Probably.
Approximately.
yeah, 4,500 a month, yes. Yep. And then it is coming towards the end of our budget year, so obviously, you know, the 1 month would be in our last budget year. We do have the miscellaneous fund that we will be able to compensate out of that, and then it will get budgeted into, you know, for the next year, then it'll have its place. Anything else?
Was this contract the one they're talking about, the 6-year contract?
No,
It's for,
13 months essentially. It'd be from June 1, finishing out the 1 month of this budget year and then on to the next budget year. With a, like I say, with a 9-month clause in there, at any time after 9 months, we could terminate.
I did think the proposal was interesting because it seemed like it had more pages of legal jargon in terms of what's responsible, not responsible, than really what they're gonna provide. It looked like 5 or 6 pages of the legal parameters, and then 1 page of here's what we'll do for you, and it tells you where we are, I guess, in society.
Yep.
I would go ahead and make a motion that we approve the Zell HR contract.
Thank you, Daniel.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Do we, I believe my motion is good enough, but do we need it in there to, because there is a signature page, do we need an authorization for chairman to sign?
Yeah, we can, I mean, your motion should be good enough to contain that.
Okay.
Any other comment, question, discussion? Roll call, please.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
and Blumer.
Yes. Okay, next, discuss and act on the county website.
So the tech team has been reviewing our current York County website, and it's out there, it's public, there's information, but we just feel that we could probably be, it could use an update. And so we've been looking at a few different, options to do that. We've met with a few different, people that would be able to provide a rebranding, provide a new, website and host that website. Last week, I was unable to attend the meeting, but a number of the tech committee was able to sit in with a gentleman, local gentleman here in York, that would be able to design a new website and host it for us. Eric Eckert is his name. And the general consensus from that meeting was that the service and the product that he provides would be very very suitable for York County. And I know Mr. Ziegler was in that meeting. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
Well, in contrast to some of the other proposals we had, he was very responsive. He could show us what he was doing. He gave us examples that we could go and look at that are also being hosted here in the county. It's probably not the flashiest website that I've seen over the years, but to think about just taking a few minutes of video or a few seconds of video of him pouring the box down there and him saying, yeah, you give me that, I'll post it, it'll be on the website. And with the changes that are happening with PR that's going on with the change in Melanie's position and the radio, you know, some of the coverage we used to have isn't the same. We really could turn the website into a informational site to show this is what's going on in the county rather than being a static, here it is, you know. And I thought the estimate for the responsibility that he would take and all that would be provided was reasonable in terms of cost to do that with expertise. So I came away with a good feeling about what Eric would be able to provide.
Leela, you're here from the tech committee. Do you have any input?
No, I echo what you both said. I thought it was very reasonable in looking at all of his websites looked really good. I think he can handle everything that we throw at him.
And like we said, this is something that's been discussed for some time. It hasn't really been a immediate push, but like we just heard about, you know, using it as a way to get our information out there. We just feel that it's probably the best time to put it on the forefront and get moving forward. We're also coming right up on budget again, so this would be a good time to think about those different expenditures and be able to put that into the next budget.
Well, we currently pay on a monthly, what
Is it $65, I think?
is what we currently pay? And this would have a build-out cost, according to the contract here, of $750 to $1,250 is what it says, and then a monthly of $150. And that is throwing whatever content we want at it, as much as we want. Does it give us access to do it, or is it him solely?
He would provide training so that we could drop our own video or pictures or text on there, and at the same time, he would also be willing to upload some of those pieces on there.
Okay.
I think he mentioned that he'd be happy to come out and do a day training on being, you know, on those that want to have content control on the, like a department head that wants to update their information on their specific department page, that he'd come out and give a training on how to access that and upload the information and whatnot.
Okay. Well, I would think that if we went this way, we'd want to have an individual that would be, I don't think we'd want a bunch of different ones having control of the content. We'd probably want to find somebody that would be in charge of
Sure.
it, so to speak. But if he would do the majority of it, I think that'd be great too. If we could just get him the content and he could put it up. You know, like our meeting notices and stuff like that, that would be 10 minutes and stuff. I think that'd be worth the extra money.
Well, Harvey's report this morning, okay, we parted a box, what's the box look like? You know, and we had four little video segments of here, went from rebar in there to here's an actual structure. And you say, hey, it's $1 million a bridge, well, why does it cost $1 million to put a bridge in? Well, you gotta remove, and all those details that are there, the more visual we can become, and our society is becoming a visual society rather than textual, we need to take advantage of the resources that we can have to be more transparent about what's going on around here. You know, the buildings you're talking about. What are we talking about? Well, if we had a picture of what those buildings were like, then it's not a secret. We don't want secrets floating around. We want everybody to say, hey, those guys and gals are, you know, communicating to us openly and honestly about what's happening in this county. You know, what are we, a $39 million budget? Where's it all go? Where's it all come from? You know, even, we had some COVID monies that we're using. Well, why are we using COVID monies for gravel? Well, it's a way to, you know, balance our budget and keep it from being local tax dollars, although it's still tax dollars. Anyway.
Well, I do like the component in here that Eric is local. And his wife has a local business here too, so that is a nice component that I like. I guess I'm on board with it. I know that there has been some issues in the past getting certain content and reliability of the content onto the old website, so this maybe relieve some of that also. Okay. What is your wishes then?
As part of the tech committee and, based on the committee's, feelings and recommendations, I would make a motion that we, accept the proposal from, let me bring it up here, so we get it right. Eric Eckert LLC to provide a rebranded and hosting of the York County website.
Okay. Thank you, Daniel.
I'll second.
Thank you, Stan. Any other discussion?
Would this begin now or when next fiscal period?
There'll be a build out, and so, it'll take him some time to get the content migrated over and rebranded. I don't know, was timeline discussed during that meeting? I wouldn't think it would, you know, I don't know that it would take 6 months to build out, but it probably takes more than 6 days.
The other ones that I've been familiar with, it's been between 30 and 60 days by the time it gets done.
Right. So by the time this goes live, I would say we would be, just starting into the next fiscal year.
Any other discussion?
I will put in there that we did, when we were doing some, discussion on this last budget year, we did put in some, money to rebrand the website. So, we do have that available this budget year, to get started on paying for the rebrand.
If any of the billing comes in. Okay. Anything else? Roll call, please.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes,
Bear,
Yes.
and Olmer.
Yes. Okay, thank you, and I'll let you, or somebody from the tech committee, if you want to take over, and just let you contact him. He didn't have anything to sign, did he have? I
I
didn't see
don't-
anything on this.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't remember, so yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, and at this time, it is 9 o'clock, and we do have discuss and act on opening gravel bids for the road department. Those were posted in the paper on the 14th, the 21st, and 28th of April. We had a handful of them that came in, just so everybody knows, and as we talked a little bit about clarity and what we're doing here, there was one that was received by email. They were not to be turned in by e-bill, they were to be turned in by sealed bid. And unfortunately, because of that's the route they took, that one will not be discussed today. I do not feel that that precludes us from buying gravel from this entity, but I think that the ones that did this, they should be first in line. And if we didn't wanna follow the rules, then we probably shouldn't have any to begin with, so. First up is double sealed.
Yes, double sealed.
From Johnson Sand and Gravel Corp., Columbus, Nebraska. Okay, and the one item that they bid was road gravel for the period, for the term of 23 to 24, our budget year, it's $14.30 per ton. And they are 9.5 miles north of Shelby. And that's the only one they have on there. $14.30 per ton.
Another double sealed.
And this one is from Johnson Trucking.
Is that Columbus also?
Yes, yep. Okay, and towards the bottom of your sheet, we had FOB Pit Sand, $4 per yard. FOB Pit Gravel, road gravel, $14.15 per ton. And it's the Cransdale Pit, south end of the Platte River Bridge, Columbus, Nebraska. Okay. Okay, FOB Pit Mud Rock, just says $11, and up top it does say a ton, price per ton, so I can assume that it's $11 a ton. Sand, FOB Pit Sand is $3.50.
What's the company?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It doesn't say on the envelope.
They who shall not be named.
Yeah. Hooker Brothers, Grand Island. It's one of those hidden sheets, okay. We had $11 for mud rock, $3.50 for sand, and $12.50 for road gravel. And this is 4 miles north of exit 314 on highway, or Interstate 80.
What was the sand again?
$3.50,
And the gravel?
$12.50,
Thank you.
And Mud Rock?
$11.
This one's Vaunt, V-O-N-T-Z.
Thank you.
So that one
I
did,
need all the help I can get.
well, this one had a name.
This is one item, which is the gravel. FOB Pit, $16 per ton. And it's over by Central City.
This one is Island Land,
Island Land,
Landholders.
Grand Island. Okay, first item is FOB Pit Armor Coat Aggregate, $16 per ton. And then FOB Pit Road Gravel, $11.50 per ton. And it's at the intersection of South Blaine Street and Shimmer Drive. Harvey, I assume that's right there in Grand Island, south end of Grand
Yes,
Island somewhere?
yes. It's not too far off of, South Locust Street.
Okay.
Just west of there a little ways.
Southwest Gravel Products out of Axton.
Okay, this one's got just a little bit more. So we're gonna start at Brown in the township. And this is price per ton, 2030. Baker, 2093. Henderson, 1995. Hayes, 2140. McFadden, 2499. West Blue, 2580. FOB Pit 3A gravel, when available, 1905. Mud Rock, 23. Armor Coat Aggregate, 1905, when available.
What was that again?
Armor Coat Aggregate, 1905, when available. Sand, $9. FOB Pit, and this specific Kilgore Pit, 1386 for the road gravel per ton. And this is 3 miles southwest of Minden, I-80 interchange. And its price delivered to York County shop stockpile is $20.93. This is extra written at the bottom. Price delivered to Bradshaw stockpile, $19.95. And price delivered to Henderson stockpile, $19.60. Have we bought from them before, Mark?
No.
This is new, isn't it?
This is a guy that just got a hold of me, and basically what he does is he has a contract for, city of Lincoln, and he hauls gravel down there, so he's gonna start hauling rock back. He'll go on down to Weeping Water, pick up rock and bring it back to us and dump in the yard, so.
So then he just bid the gravel then
So
too.
then he was putting the gravel. He wanted to look at getting a pit somewhere over in this neighborhood. It just has not matured, or his business is not grown to the point where he can do that.
That's it.
So that's all of them. And in years past, typically we accept all bids to give Harv the opportunity to, well, in case one's out or wherever. I mean, as we've seen, there's some, difference in pricing.
Yes.
And so I would assume we pick on them first.
And where it's available.
Yes. That
That's
always,
the big thing. Right now, they're just getting started. Some of them are barely keeping up, some of them are gaining. So, yes, once again, where we can find material to haul.
is the one, there used to be one that would bid from Beatrice that was down like Alexandria Pit.
Exactly.
They weren't,
They did not, bid this time for whatever reason.
okay.
That would have been Nebco is what that would have been. And for some reason, they didn't send one in. Maybe because we didn't buy anything from them last year, I don't know.
Could be. Okay,
Right, what's it cost to run a truck 40 miles to say like Columbus or Grand Island and pick up the loads? Is there a per load kind of a cost? Is it $300 to run a truck over there?
Woody, I'm not gonna throw a number out there. I'd have to research it and make sure so I give you a correct answer.
Okay,
And I can, it's just not on the top of my head right
sure.
now.
Yeah, thank you. I just thought that could influence, okay, do we run to Minden, you know, but here he's talking about delivering, that's a different ballgame than sending
Right.
our own trucks there and drivers and stuff.
Exactly. Well, and that's why he put them down to the township of where it's going, what it would be, and that would be for him hauling it in to us.
Right.
But I will
Does
get that
How does that
information.
equate with our expense sending the truck versus him making the delivery?
I will get those figures for you.
okay. What's your wishes, guys?
I would say we go ahead and, accept all bids. I'd make that in the form of a motion.
Thank you, Daniel.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Brooks,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Meyer.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Hard. Okay, at this time, we're a couple minutes early, but we do have the privilege this morning, the McCool FFA. They did a presentation, and correct me, Cheryl, stand at the back of the room if I'm off on this, but they won state with this presentation, and this was a presentation on the positives or negatives of carbon sequestering, which we do see affecting us now, and I thought it'd be a great time to not only let them practice up a little bit more, but give us a little education too.
Yeah,
So-
they'll present in Indianapolis in October at
In-
Nationals.
At Nationals, Indianapolis, okay. So we are not gonna recess, we're gonna stay informed. We're gonna go downstairs to our former commissioner room where I believe they're set up and ready to go. And all those that wanna come down, can come down and watch. It's roughly a 10 to 15 minute presentation that they'll go through, and then we'll come back up and we'll attack our budget after that. Or our budget, our agenda after that.
We don't know, I know, so it'll be okay. I'll figure it out.
We good, Dan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're still in session, but we will take a brief recess to go to the Board of Equalization at 9:30, which is now 9:40. Roll call, please.
Brooks,
President?
Bear,
Here.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes. Okay, open meetings law is posted on the south side of our chambers, on the hallway, in the hallway outside of our chambers. It is also on our website. Proof of publication was in the New York News Times, April 25th, also on our website. Next, we need to review and approve the minutes of our April 18th Board of Equalization meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you, gentlemen. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Brooks,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes, and to adopt today's agenda.
Motion to adopt today's agenda.
Thank you, Jack.
Second.
Thank you, Woody. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Sykes,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Overmeyer.
Yes, okay, the one item on the agenda is discuss an act on an application for exemption for a 2017 Ford Ecoline 350 van for York University. The paperwork's been filled out, been turned into our treasurer, Megan Williams, and she has marked this for approval.
Motion to approve the recommendation by the negative.
Thank you, Jack.
Second.
Thank you, Stan. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Sykes,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
and Overmeyer.
Yes, okay, that is the end of our agenda. So we will adjourn as a Board of Equalization. We will come back into the Board of Commissioners. Briefly state that in my year sitting on the Board of Commissioners, that was, I think, the first time we did something like that. It was pretty interesting. It makes you feel good that the next generation, some of them got it together, you know, and they did a good job. I really appreciate the fact that that was brought forward and we were able to participate in that. Okay, next up is discuss and act on zoning administrator. This is something we want to keep on top of. We had a meeting that was by our Planning and Zoning Commission a Monday ago. I was able to partake part of that meeting, and then I had to go. But it sounds like they are requesting a draft to be made within 45 days, and then they will present it back and go through that. During our last discussion about the zoning administrator, it was brought up about what about a neighboring county, so I did contact the neighboring counties. Once again, Polk County has, their chairman does it, and there's not much activity out there, and that's the way it is. Fillmore County is the gal that I visited with. She is their zoning administrator with absolutely no background in zoning whatsoever. She also works for the Veteran Service Office, part-time down there, and then they have a secondary building which they rent out, and then she's kind of the administrative of that building. So that's really not an option. Seward County, their zoning administrator is also their weed superintendent, and it is a full-time position there too, but obviously that is fulfilled. Hamilton County, unfortunately, they just lost their zoning administrator through a murder, and so the gentleman that's kind of oversees it, they're hiring somebody fresh and with no experience. He's going to train them, but Hamilton County also does Merritt County, and they also do all the communities within Hamilton and Merritt County. So that's really not, you know, an option that way either. So that's the conversations I've had. In those conversations with Seward and Hamilton County, I did get their job descriptions forwarded to me. So we do have that. I think that looking at those job descriptions, Hamilton County's is a little bit smaller, a little bit briefer. looking at those, I think there would be a great start for us to compile that. I also think that just because we put it out doesn't mean we don't want somebody to do it. I think we put it out, see what happens, although the gentleman from Hamilton County said, yeah, good luck. He said, it just doesn't foresee, that being it. And do we put it as a full-time position and put another hat with it? I mean, do we have another spot for putting another hat with it? Those are like discussions that I think we should probably continue to have. I know that Mr. Johnson's in the room with us now. He is helping us out to continue to do what he said he would do, but he does want to see it move along because he wants to see an end too. And that end, as we talked, was roughly around the budget, our budget year. So what are you guys, that's what conversations I had the last 2 weeks.
I was hoping Hamilton County would be helpful because they just went through it with the windmill thing. And so I wondered what kind of policies they had, which I don't know what they are. But they just went through a big ordeal with that. And they stopped the windmills. And I don't know if that's our goal, but that's what they did. So that doesn't work, but I was hoping that might work.
Scott Stewart is the gentleman's name. He's actually from York County originally. In fact, his dad was a former commissioner here. He said he would be willing to help as much as he could and as much as his commissioners would let him, through advice and different things like that. So we really, I mean, the conversation I had with him wasn't about, say, the solar that we're going through right now. It was about employment.
Right.
And what to do about that. And that's what he had said, that he would be more than willing. And the other ones that I've talked to have said that too. If there's ever any questions, let us know. And they talked about different training aspects that would be out there. But it does sound like it's gonna be a position that's gonna have to be, kind of teach yourselves with calling these other ones. I talked to Lisa down in Gage County, and she was their emergency manager and their zoning. And so it's kind of trial by air, by fire, stuff like that. So, but I would guess it would be my opinion that we come up with a job description and we put it out and see if anybody applies, and we go from there.
And the job description would include legal background or not, or, those kind of things, so that would narrow or broaden your field based on what we build into that job description. So it seems like that would be first as we examine options.
And once again, reading through both of those, I think that we get one to fit York County, obviously, but there's a lot of insight in both of those that are the same too. Correct.
Yeah, I would agree in that, I think we need to move forward, pin down a job description and get it advertised out there, and see what kind of interest there is.
So if everybody's okay with it, I would say that I would ask Daniel to work with me on this, and along with the clerk's office, our HR and our newly employed Zell, to come up with something and hopefully come up with a job description within the next 2 weeks at our next meeting, and then, like I say, just keep this going.
Right. Yep.
That sound good to everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that a motion?
Anything else? Yeah, either that or we just keep putting it on, please. Anybody else have anything on it?
I think, I guess as we put together the job description, it might, kind of point us one way or the other as far as whether it's a part-time or a full-time. I think the zoning itself probably definitely is a part-time, but like you said, if in thinking of this, is there other duties that we could bring in there? And I think that all comes as we build the job description, probably.
And not to forget, Chris, I'm sorry, you weren't in my peripheral there, but we would definitely ask Chris's insight too.
Sure.
I know it's just been a year, but we'd ask his insight into that job description also.
For what it's worth, a new job description was just preliminarily typed out, within the last week. And I believe, so it does need some additional insight into it. And definitely needs to be adjusted, but, it's one heck of a good working draft.
Okay, thank you.
It wasn't me that did it, that would be Mary in the clerk's office, and she did a fantastic job.
Okay.
So, since it is discuss and act, do you want something to push it on down the line? Or
I mean, I think we'll just push it to the next meeting and just keep it on there.
Right.
And the reason, I guess, put discuss and act in case we wanted to act
Sure.
on something on there.
Very good.
Anything else? Okay, we'll move on to discuss and act on the GIS mapping services for York County. We should have had that information forwarded to you. I believe there was a couple of you that was able to sit in on the presentations. Woody, I think you were one, and Daniel was another. I think Kurt was there. Kurt unfortunately is in training classes in North Platte this week, so he will not be here, but he did email his recommendation. So, you sat in on it too. And Harvey was there.
Harvey was there, Kayla was there.
Okay.
They were, I mean, they, two different style, presentators, anyway, we'll move on.
Yep,
Uh,
that's exactly right.
And, you know, I think that both, have the backbone, I guess, of what we're looking for. After those discussions, I did go out, do a little browsing on the links that they provided to counties in other states that both companies provide GIS services to. Sam, it was a good discussion. I think that they showed a lot of what we currently had in our previous GIS, and there was some things that they could do that maybe we weren't doing with our previous. I believe it's the SAM Surveying and Mapping LLC that Kurt is recommending. I felt very comfortable with them.
In the course of the SAM presentation, we actually saw some of what his product could do rather than just talking about, well, we can do this and we can do this. I thought that was more effective in terms of the presentation style than with Kurt recommending SAM. I mean, he's the user of it. The one question that's come to my mind that developed since that presentation was Kurt started talking about the flyover software mapping kind of thing. And does one replace the other? Does it supersede? Do you need both? One is
Two different things.
two different.
Absolutely two different things. Yeah, the flyover is specifically for the assessor, in evaluating essentially if there were buildings and structures and pivots and everything put up without permits. So that doesn't really have anything.
Anything to do with this?
No. It looked to me like they were fairly similar in cost. Now, the one conversation I had with Kurt was that with Sam for sure, was gonna be an off-site server. And he wasn't 100% sure that's the way it was with Sidwell.
Okay.
And Sidwell, you know, for instance, if we was to have to buy a server, then we're spending money again. Yeah, I think when we bought our email server that we did here a few years back, it was $10,000 or $12,000 for that email server. So I think that's one of the reasons, because he said both of them, you know, he felt like would accommodate us. And I
Right,
played on
sure.
them both. There's gonna be a learning curve
yeah,
to both of them, compared to the GIS. So, and then, you know, the cost savings compared to building out the GIS was just huge. I mean, enormous.
From the G-Works.
Yeah, from the G-Works, yeah. It was $255,000 to build them out. And Sam, for instance, has got, $100 per hour, and they said they won't exceed $12,000.
Right.
I mean, I think we can probably guarantee they're gonna get pretty close to $12,000. Usually when they say they won't exceed it, we're gonna see that number. And with the Sidwell, it looked like it was, $8,300. To do that, so there was a little bit of differentiation in
And
cost
they had
there.
$120 an hour versus the $100 an
correct,
hour
yeah.
labor charge.
I mean, you sat in,
Yeah, and both of them could do the redistricting. Every 10 years, we have to do redistricting, so I was good with that. They said they would, because right now with the G-Works, they are working on, for our street files with elections, that information would go right to our street files, so we wouldn't have any errors in our street files. And they say they can do that also. Other than that, we register our deeds. I know Lindsay looks at it a lot to figure out where these parcels are. And then I know Kayla uses a lot just to make sure we're in the right district. So mainly the assessor, if they have their information correct, then we have our information correct. So to me, it's the assessor's recommendation that oversees mine.
and it looked like, timeframe wise, you know, the one, I believe, you know, had up to 8 weeks build out, and the other one was a little less than that. So in our contract with G-Works, is up at the end of our budget year, so it's time to make the decision on it now and go one way or the other. I believe with Harvey, with the roads, according to what Kurt said, they was gonna be able to do all that. Our zoning is not that big, it just shows, that's, I mean, it's really a small segment of it. So, I would agree that it seems like the assessor uses it as much as any. I know that me and Kurt had a conversation also, because I know we have a lot of firms, the banks, and they utilize this and they would offer to come in and do some training. Did they talk about that at the meeting also? I know Kurt had conversations
Right,
that they
yeah.
said they would bring in and do
Right.
a day training for outside entities that would get them through it rather than sit there and pick and try to
Right,
learn it.
exactly. I don't remember specifically that we discussed that during those discussions, but yeah, if he's had those.
He had those discussions with them. Anything else? And there was a signature sheet on this one also, for both of them.
Well, I move we go with Kurt's recommendation with Sam as the GIS provider.
Do you wanna include in there, for them, for parcel maintenance as well? He had just wanted us to,
Yeah.
I don't know if we need to do both, but we could put it in.
The whole package,
Yes.
There you go.
so it's not subdivided, and we don't have to keep doing this.
You make that motion, did you?
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Any other discussion?
Do we know, has Gary's office, reviewed these, proposals and contracts?
Did Kurt,
Have you,
I didn't think so. I don't think so.
I wonder, I mean, I think we move forward, but I wonder if it wouldn't hurt just to have them review it before we put our signature on it. In case there was something glaring that they saw and said, whoa, wait a minute.
So let's just add that to my
With the
motion.
contingent upon the review of.
And I'll go along.
You're good with that, Jack? Okay, thank you. Okay. There we go. So we do have a motion to, accept Sam's proposal for the website development and the maintenance agreement. And then, it will go to our county attorneys, and as long as they're okay with it, then allow the chairman to sign, right? Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
Brooks,
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. We will get that.
And then as we have Eric build in our new server, we also make this resource available to the public so they can, well, what's 2206 Road 20 look like? And they can go there and I can see for myself, oh, they do have my barn on there or whatever.
Yep.
So it becomes a resource that is transparent for everybody within the county.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they have the capabilities. I know that sometimes you have the capabilities on some of the, to have a website, a counter. It would be interesting for the G-Works to see just how many people, or for this new one, to just see how many people actually use it, because it's used a lot. It really is. Okay, that takes us down to the county vehicle item. I put this on here and, not to create controversy, but to try to clean up some of the questions that's being asked of me, essentially since we've got it. What I handed out this morning was just Kurt's idea. That doesn't mean it's what we go by, it's just Kurt's idea. And I think he got it off of Aging Services. I guess I feel like the vehicle that we purchased for York County, and Nick did all the groundwork, and it was veterans, but it was to be used by the whole county. It needs to have some form of sign-up sheet so we know who can use it. For instance, I'll bring up the NERMA meeting. It wasn't licensed at that time, so we didn't use it. But, there's gotta be some kind of accountability of where do we sign up? How do we know if it's busy or if it's not busy? We just don't wanna go and take the keys and find out that we couldn't have did it. It's almost like our room downstairs that we used this morning. So once again, this was just an idea. This was not anything that whatever, so that I think we need to, mark the car. I had talked to, and I think Daniel had too, talked to Wallingford over there about putting York County on it, and maybe, he was talking with the red car, having silver on it with a stripe or two. I think we need to have that on there, because if we did go to our meetings, we see other county vehicles are marked, whether it's Boone County or Platte County or Hall County or whatever. I think we definitely need to have that on there. But basically, we just need to have a sign up, who knows where it's going, where's the keys. Currently, it's being parked outside. We hope that after construction, it gets a place, and maybe during construction, meaning if we was to ever add on to those bays, then we would have more room for it then there too, because I know Cal, by us parking it inside, we limit Cal's availability too, but then the storms never come during the day when
So
we don't want them.
the last storm that we had, I actually took it to the fairgrounds and put it in the mercantile building. And they were easy to work with. We put it in there and it stayed in there the whole weekend, and then we came and got it, so.
And I'm thinking obviously in a pinch over the weekend, we could use, our Aging Services building too.
Conveniently, that storm was, Aging Services had a party going on there, I guess. So, they were busy, but yes,
Well,
that was our
we
first.
cleaned it
one
up for that, yeah. So, having Nick here now, and you were the one that brought this forward last year, and then when we finally bought it, do you have?
So can I present what we have going?
Absolutely,
currently?
absolutely.
So currently, in our office, we have the sweet sign-up sheet. I agree with what you're saying. The only concern and problem I have is fuel. So currently, there's a chip, so we have to have a chip. Every vehicle, the sheriff's department, our old one, is a chip assigned for fuel out at the roads department, right? Currently, Kurt and his staff, me, Rochelle, and I are the only two that actually have codes to get fuel for this car. So like if Kelly wanted to borrow it and everything, we'd make her come in here. So I took it the other day. And we put on there, okay, so mileage when it was checked out, what it's at, to what it's coming in, what it's being used for, the signature and your initials or name, printed name. Is what we have, dates and everything like that. And then are you set up to refuel it? And where's that? So that way it's, Kurt and I both agreed that it shouldn't be on him to fill up the car, and when it comes back, it should be full of fuel. And it shouldn't be on me to fill up the car for everybody. I mean, that's just a budget line item that we would have, so.
I think, Nick, that it is as close as we are to the budget year. We continue on the route we're on now.
Yes.
And then we, because, my feeling is, and you did the legwork, but my feeling is this obviously is a county vehicle. We just make a line out of it.
Yeah.
Under miscellaneous, and we
Okay.
make a line item for fuel.
Yep.
And that still means somebody's gonna have to go do it.
Right.
Because we're not gonna have these chips or whatever all
It
over.
stays in the car.
Okay.
It's assigned to the car, it actually is in the car.
Okay.
It doesn't, it's not my individual key card or nothing. The Dodge has its own, this has its own, so it's always in what's in the center console.
Okay.
So it stays with the car.
So then we just, and it doesn't affect,
It's a-
your budget, it doesn't affect the assessor's budget, it doesn't affect anybody else's budget. Because if we're utilizing this as county, either we're paying mileage.
Correct.
Or we're buying fuel.
Right.
So it's
Well,
just coming out of
I just
general anyway.
got the fuel bill, it's $2.96 a gallon out at the roads department,
Right.
which is cheaper than the 64 cents or 65 cents we're paying in mileage, if that makes sense. The only thing is, if Kelly would come and get it from me, we would ask, have you talked to Ashley to get set up to get fuel? That's the only hiccup we see right now, but we're working with that right now, so.
So, with this chip, you have to enter a PIN number
Yep.
that's assigned to you or something?
Yep, so when you go out there, you scan and that tells the vehicle ID. That's
Okay.
how they track
Yep.
it to bill it.
Sure,
And then you have to put your PIN, it's a 4-digit PIN, no different than your credit card
Right.
or debit card.
Yep.
And then that tells them that you filled it up. So there's 2 identifications, vehicle and person.
sure.
So they know what office, so then Ashley sends us a bill, essentially.
Yep.
That we code and then turn in, so that's essentially how it works. But if we have miscellaneous, if we can see it,
It could be right on there, so you can,
and it'll be right here, so we know what date, and everything, every time you get gas, it's dated. So we know exactly what
Sure.
date, so we can always,
Right.
and that's not hard for us to code and turn in. I mean, it's simple, it just matters as long as they're set up with Ashley, and that literally took me 10 minutes the other day when I actually learned a lot about the process.
Okay.
I didn't know nothing about it, to be honest, how that all worked, so, but yeah.
so if anybody wants to use it, then
Yeah.
this would be, obviously, because you're not always here.
Yeah.
Rochelle will have this in the office.
Yep. Since you're under,
And as long as it isn't spoken for.
Yep.
We can use that for the,
meetings or whatever, you guys went to NERMA?
we did, that was prior to it being licensed and stuff like that, but now it is licensed. I'd just like to see it, and Jim's gonna get us some pictures first. I think he come over and took a picture of it.
I don't know, I haven't talked to him, I did reach out to Ed Muntz about like a vinyl sticker thing on it to see what he could come up with, he hasn't got back to me yet on it. The company the sheriff's department uses,
Jim does all the marking. on
he
it.
does.
Yeah.
I haven't reached out to him, so. Ed was
Well,
looking-
like I say, I already
You did.
asked Jim Wallingford sign just down the street, if you're gonna walk down and take a picture of it.
Okay.
So question for you as you're standing here then. Because this question came up too. So this car is spoken for Friday.
Okay.
And if something comes up that the veteran, some reason a veteran needs it Friday, what's our plan of action?
I'll take my personal vehicle.
Okay.
I mean, we'll figure it out. There's times where, well, we had that guy that attempted suicide and we ended up taking him all the way to Omaha. I just used my personal vehicle because
Okay.
it was way easier than coming in here to get a set of keys and then go get him. It was either he went to jail or the cop actually called me personally and said, hey, he's a veteran, he's trying to commit suicide. He's either going to jail or can you take him? Sure. We had a great conversation on the way to Omaha.
That's
Van
good.
East, by the way, if you wanna know what the psych ward is.
So
Never been there before.
the book is the book, and if you're signed up and nobody else signed
Yep.
up, you can absolutely expect that
Yeah,
that
if
car will
you-
be there waiting for
If you
you.
came, if you came to me and said, hey, I would like to get the car Friday, that's what day, on Thursday, come get the keys and they're yours. So, I did read the policy in our handbook today, and we cannot take it home. So like if you wanted it, you'd have to drive here Friday morning and pick it up. Now, I get it, like if, for me, for example, where I live east of town and we're gonna go to Omaha, like drive in and whatever, but it's the policy and that's what we're gonna stick to, so, there is, Rochelle's done, I'll be honest, she did most of this, she did 100% of it. Let me back up here.
No doubt in my mind there.
She did this, she came up with this and she says, just a couple notes, just keep it clean, refueled, and then she put in their little disclaimer, if you don't do that, we'll have a little discussion, you'll get a little penalty.
Okay.
So, but no, it's, for the most part, Kurt's the only one, he wants signage on it before he sends it out with the girls, which I get. I prefer Kurt wasn't on gravel right off the get-go until he let it break in a little bit. I mean, but it is what it is, and he's got a job to do, and so it is there, so I think they're still using a Dodge right now, because he wants signs on it, or some signage on it, so.
Well, we had magnets, I believe.
He does have magnets,
I believe we
but he
had.
loses, if you ask Kurt, he loses those, I bet he goes through
I think we,
7, 10 a year.
Okay.
So that's why he wanted something permanent on there that said York County, so.
okay, well, we hadn't had this discussion. I know we just bought a vehicle, and so there. Does anybody else have anything else to add to it?
Well, in terms of the parameters of this guideline sheet too?
No, that, we're not,
Just this process of checking out
Right.
vehicles and fueling them.
So like on the Dodge, we actually used to have, well, we still do, we had like 7 sets of keys on the Dodge. This set, we only have 2, because something about they're expensive as all get out to make.
oh, sure, chipped, they're
Yeah,
chipped.
they're fancy. They do a lot, so.
Well, I think we can get a key possibly to unlock the door,
Yes.
but it's not going to start.
It
And
won't.
that might be a good idea to get a spare key, at least when we used to have a locksmith here in town. We could get a key to unlock a door, it wouldn't get you anywhere, but if it was inside, it'd
Yep.
get you to get that.
Well, so if your key's inside,
It won't lock.
it won't lock.
Good.
It will not lock at all. It's a fob and it's a push button. It will, and let me tell you, it tells you if you leave the keys in there. If you,
Okay.
and if it's running, you cannot walk away from it. It'll shut off and it'll start honking. You get too far away, it lets you know. So,
Well, the main users that I see, because we're not gonna say we're not gonna do mileage.
oh yeah.
If somebody wants to, still drive their vehicle, they can do it, but the main users is gonna be the veterans.
Like,
And probably even the assessor is gonna be the main user.
yeah,
I would
they'll
say.
probably use it a lot more than us.
So I think that we'll have to, during budget time, I think we'll have to come up with, obviously not only a mileage, or a fuel, but we'll have to come up with a little bit of money in there because, we're gonna wear out tires, we're gonna do certain
No,
things.
we have that, like I have that budgeted on my budget as an actual line item for vehicle repairs and stuff like that. So it's out there already.
Right.
So it's just a matter of if we do it miscellaneous or what, however you
I
want.
think it's gonna be a good idea, Nick, because once again, if we get, all right, your office wasn't using it, the other office was using it, where do we take it from? I mean, and then to me, it just solidifies the fact that, yes, it is a county vehicle, what is covered under that, and pull that out of yours or whatever was out of hers and just put or hers and put it in there and we just take care of the repairs. Then
Like-
there's no questioning.
Like NACO, I mean, it'd be available for NACO if people wanted to go out, in December.
Right.
I personally take my personal vehicle because I also do Christmas shopping. It's conveniently the right time of year. So, county shouldn't have to pay for it.
Well, we have central district to go through yet, and we have, other opportunities, and we got NACO meeting, coming up here in,
If you-
June.
If you haven't been in it or sat in it, it is actually very spacious in the back seat. It is not tight. It looks tiny, but it actually, and if you let Kelly run it, she's probably gonna lock the sunroof.
Can't get the
I
sunroof.
can't figure out the sunroof.
Okay.
Personal.
So, just I think everything we've discussed is good. I'm just throwing this out there that while maybe we don't, the verbiage on some of this isn't in line with where we're going, does it make sense to have a policy like this that each new user that comes to take it has read over it and signed it? I don't know if it's necessary, but I wonder if it's just a
Is it,
help
is
in
that
the,
just a copy of the handbook or what is?
No, this
This
is something
is
that
a-
Kurt had come up with.
Oh,
yeah.
It's-
and, you know, I assume our drivers, for aging have something similar to this and have signed that they are aware, just like that alcohol and tobacco are not gonna be used and, the use of cell phones aren't, allowed. Seatbelts will be worn, stuff
That's
like
actually-
that.
That's
It just-
actually in our handbook.
Okay,
That's,
And
page 49
so-
to 52 happens to be it. I just got
Okay.
to read it.
yep. So maybe we're covered in that employees have signed the handbook, acknowledgement, and so maybe that's good enough.
Okay.
Yeah, cause even like the minor traffic accident, there has to be a
Yep,
drug test. We have a drug test and then, law enforcement report.
Okay, yep,
And that's all part of the
Yep.
handbook. That's,
okay, good,
so.
sure.
Yeah. That, I mean, we can just make that part of one of our checks as well, checks and balances as
Yep.
well, so.
Does the handbook have the expectation that you obey the Nebraska traffic laws?
You can, no speeding, oh man, it breaks it all down. Valid driver's license, if for some reason your driver's license gets suspended or taken, revoked or whatever, you have to immediately report it, to the supervisor or department head, elected official. So, yeah, that's all part of the handbook.
Okay. We're good then?
Good.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
So at this time, I guess, I'd entertain a motion that the Veterans Office will have the sign-up sheet for the vehicle. And, anybody that wants to use it, we'll deal with them to sign up.
Right. Yep.
And then we'll get the gas figured out and everything at our budget times.
Right. So, yeah, I would make that motion.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. You got some-
What's the motion?
That the sign-up sheet will be in the Veterans Office for the
So
signing
when
out
it
for the
says,
vehicle.
discuss and act on the policies of the York County vehicle, we're going to suspend the act on it?
Well, we're creating a policy that the motion is a policy in itself that the sign-up sheet will be in the, Veterans Office.
They should follow the handbook policy,
And, you know,
they should follow the handbook policy, what's in the
All the handle.
And it doesn't have anything to do with this
No,
document.
correct, yeah.
Nothing.
Well,
I mean, it sounds like it's pretty repetitive compared to the policy. Yes, in the handbook.
It'd be made real simple. Follow the policy we already have.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Where's this sign-up sheet now? Well, so nothing's changed.
Nothing,
In the
right, yeah,
VSO.
we're
So
just
why do we
making it-
need a motion? Nothing's changed.
We had not
didn't-
placed it yet.
We didn't really have an official,
Okay,
policy.
okay.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Brooks,
Yes.
Ziegler,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes,
and Overmeyer.
Yes, okay. Down, we got, we do have our jail, let's go ahead, jail visit, our quarterly jail visit. And Nick is said anytime after 10:30, so we're fitting into that pretty well. Let's go ahead and go on to committee reports, that way when we come back, we can just adjourn from that. Who wants to start today? Anybody?
well, I attended the Blue Valley meeting 2 weeks ago. And the real interesting part was Tiffany Chenard, you maybe know her. She's just head of the Head Start education program. She's fantastic. What they say they're gonna do for the Head Start kids is unbelievably good. her curriculum sounds really good, their assessment values of the children, the way they do it, if they can get all the teachers to be on board to that, I was really impressed with that presentation from Tiffany. So I don't know her, never met her before, but she's with it. So that was one real good thing about it. One thing that surprised me is all the fringe benefits that their employees get. It's just overwhelming, all the things that they get, vacation time, dental, medical, mental health, you name it, which, good for them. So I went to that meeting, and I went to Harvey this morning, and talked about roads, and he's on it. He's gonna go on vacation next week, see his grandson in Louisville, Kentucky, shooting archery, I believe, doing archery activities. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Dan. You up to it?
Sure. Just to piggyback on roads, Harvey's also gonna tour the, CAT,
Oh, yeah.
maintainer plant, so that'll be fun.
In Little Rock,
Yeah.
yep.
Attended the zoning meeting, last week. There was a lot of discussion amongst the planning zoning board. There's been a lot of, calls and messages this week from people, liking what they're hearing, not liking what they're hearing, sharing their feedback. And so when that working draft is available and they have a public comment time on that, I'm sure there will be a number of comments on what direction the zoning should go. Yeah, other than that, a whole lot to add today.
Okay. Woody?
Been to the planning and zoning meeting, attended the technology discussion with Eric and plus the GIS guys. Attended the debate for 6-week heartbeat bill at the Capitol. Participated or been to the Republican thing session, and there's a meeting tonight with the Nebraska Republicans or York County Republicans this evening. And I'm getting input on solar in particular from different patrons, citizens.
Okay. Jack?
Okay. I haven't had a lot of meetings up till now. Tomorrow, we having a veteran service meeting, and it's at a different place, and I think by the 5th, I just asked Leila, because I lost a lot of my email when they changed me over from over here to Allo. I lost a lot of my emails. So anyway, we have a meeting with 9/11 Friday?
Yes.
Okay, I remembered that. All right, that's all I have.
Aging.
When is it?
Next Wednesday.
I have a meeting next Wednesday.
Keep up.
I told you I lost all my emails.
Are you talking about when they switch you to .gov?
No, Josh and Leila worked on my computer, and it works faster than any of you guys' computers now. You know why? They changed the drivers.
Yeah.
All the drivers were outdated.
Yeah.
So now it works.
Okay.
And it's only been 5 months.
Is that everything, Jack?
That's everything.
Okay. Next week, we'll start the budget process for York County. We do have the call center meeting Friday. It's a repeat meeting from a month ago. It's for the budget, that we share with the city of York. So we do have that this week. We did receive a letter from the city of York They are going to have 2 meetings, Tuesday, May 9th at 5:15 and Wednesday, May 10th at 5:15, and they are discussing TIF. It is Bill 496, which in past, TIF would only allow you to do certain things, and in this bill that was, this LB 496, which was passed by the 2018 legislature, will allow them to use money for housing, up to so much % for housing. So, and obviously, they are just letting us know. I assume they let other entities within the county know, you know, we're in the jurisdiction that they're letting us say. So those meetings are next week, it looks like. No. What did I say? May 9th. Oh, that calendar's not switched yet. Okay, yes, a week from today, next Tuesday and Wednesday. So that is going on. We did get all of our action plans and stuff done after our last meeting that took care of the finalizing our audit process. And I think we're all caught up and ready to start over again. Okay. Over the last couple of weeks, I guess it's time to start talking. I feel like it's time to start talking about this. I've had a couple conversations with Melanie. And I think it's a perfect time with the change of the website to bring this up and go a little bit more public about it. We did see somebody from the News Times here today. I did get a call from the News Times last week of a gentleman that said he was the new editor, said he was gonna stop down and see me. I haven't seen, that hasn't transpired yet. Melanie and myself have talked just a little bit about what it would take if she became somewhat of our information person. And as we talked today about the website, and Woody, you touched on a little bit, if we don't put our information out, then the coffee shops and everything else come up with their own information that fits their story. And I think it would be a positive for us to be able to work with somebody that's very experienced in it. This wouldn't be a full-time position. This would be a contractual thing. With the new website, it would be put on there. It would be put on social media. It would also be given to the radio station and to the News Times to publish if they so chose to publish it. But it's something that we would, in a sense, control through employment, through a contract. And that is something that over the next couple of weeks, if you guys have thoughts or anything, let me know. I think they've been some pretty good conversations that me and Melanie have. It isn't a new idea. This happened up in Platte County, and the editor of the Columbus Telegram was actually hired by the city of Columbus to be this person. I'm not promoting it as being a full-time position. Once again, just be a contractual type deal that we would pay on a bi-weekly basis. And then the offices that, for instance, last week, the treasurer could have put out an article that says, you know, remember, first half is due, there is the extra day, Monday.
The collection box still works.
Just different things like that. Through the conversation we've had, this wouldn't necessarily involve, not that it wouldn't involve the county attorney could still put some stuff out, but it wouldn't necessarily involve the court systems. It would just be the offices if they wanted to put some information out. And I think it would be, like I say, I think it'd be a positive. I really do. And we don't know if it'd work until we try it and see what happens.
Aren't we, basically under contract, or not contract, I'm sorry, but aren't we told that we have to have all legal notices published?
Yes.
Does it have to be? We've never really had a problem with this because it was the York Daily. That's the only newspaper, but there are other newspapers around. And since Lee Enterprises is not using a lot of local people and not putting in a lot of the stuff they used to put in there, that if there's another newspaper around, we could choose that newspaper as our legal.
Posting our legals.
Posting our legal.
Yeah, and we choose that, you know, obviously around the first of the year,
Mhm.
when we do that. And they're still an operating newspaper. I mean, they,
Kinda.
well, they are, and that's who we had to conform to their rules. And we have to give them a little bit more notice now, to get our legals in there. And as long as we know what the rules are, we can play by them. This would just be more of information, getting information out. I know that she's got her, and I'm sure she's writing about the gravel beds, because those
Because I love,
that she loves the gravel beds.
fascinating.
But,
Best day of the year, Randy.
yeah, I know,
Oh,
that
can't wait.
she informed me that that was her first meeting ever, was the gravel beds, you know, with York County. So I'm glad that she was able to sit here. So this would be information, this would be, and not to manipulate our authority, just to get it out there.
Right,
You
it's the
know,
transparency conversation, and people do know Melanie's name. The next question is, what's your comfort zone with zoning?
Well, I have a copy of the comp plan at home.
So once again, there it is. If you have some feedback for me, I'd appreciate it. We'll probably have something on the agenda over the next agenda, to see if we can come out. I'll visit with Gary just a little bit, because I think we need to come up with some contract, something in writing that states what we'll do and what would be expected and, you know, that, I'd like to say, I think it's a perfect time with the new website. Her and Eric have worked together in the past for many years, so that relationship is there, and I think it could be a positive. And if it isn't, then I guess we just go our own separate ways.
Good idea.
Anything else? Kelly?
I have nothing.
I have nothing. Nothing about Colorado, nothing, huh?
Colorado was wonderful, had all the seasons, snow,
Okay.
rain, hail.
Okay, we do have our quarterly jail visit, and we will go on that, so we'll recess right now as Board of Commissioners. We will come back. There is nothing else on the agenda. When we come back, we will just adjourn at that point in time.